Howdy, everyone. Tad Stevens on the Micro Success Secrets podcast, where we focus on business psychology and marketing and how you can use that in your business daily and long term. Today, I'm talking with Michael Goodman, who has over 45 years in sales, business, and leadership. He has he has long since established himself as the patriarch of sales in Arizona. Author of the Solomon Sales System and the Transformational Sales Program, he is a highly regarded sales trainer, founder of Arizona Sales Pros. He created the largest sales organization in Arizona, also an advisor to the Grand Canyon University Innovation Center and mentor to the Center for Entrepreneurial Innovation. He continues the growth of Arizona business on a daily basis and makes a huge impact. Listen today as we give our all, bringing up you real value. Michael, how you doing? And let me know if I missed anything.
No, that was really good. I have to say, I'm probably the patriarch of sales in Arizona, not because I'm the smartest guy in the world, but because I've lasted the longest in the
industry. That works. We'll go for that. And I'm sure the other is true as well.
Some would say so, yeah.
So what I'd like to start out with is same basic question for everybody. And this goes to your experience as an entrepreneur, as a business person out there in the field, doing it day in, day out. If you could take a time machine and go back in time and you could change one decision, business, life, whatever, and it can be two decisions, but one decision. First off, would you change it? And second, if you would, what would you change it to?
This is a great question, and I think it's probably one everybody in the world should consider on a regular basis. And I have to go back to something that is not so much a business decision or a life decision. It's a life decision, but it comes from who I've become as a man and a human being. And if I were going to give up or change one thing, it would be to give up ego much earlier in my life. Right? When I talk about ego, I'm really talking about the part of me that wants to defend my mistakes. I'm talking about the part of me that look good in any given situation. Because the fact is, I screw up. It happens. I'm not the best, right? And I'd love to tell you that I'm perfect, and I'm not. In fact, I was just playing with that a moment ago. I'm not the most perfect human being, but if I'm defending it, I'm compounding the error by trying to make me look good when that doesn't do anything to solve a problem,
Mm-hmm.
If you look at a quarterback who throws a pass over the head of a receiver and he blames the receiver when the guy gets back to the huddle, you have a team that's dysfunctional and doesn't work. Mm-hmm. If on the other hand, the quarterback says, you know what, my fault, my bad, I'm so sorry, I'll work on that, right? Then you have a team that coalesces and comes together. And it comes from not defending where we've made mistakes, just being okay with who we are.
I love the answer. And I've done dozens of these now. And that is the first time I have heard anybody talk about that in that depth with that. And it is so true of myself that whenever I make a mistake and I try to defend it, it doesn't help me. I mean, and the person on the other end knows knows what I'm doing. So there's really no benefit to anybody there, but great answer. Really appreciate that one.
Thank you.
And this is kind of related, if you could go back in the same time machine and you could look through all the decisions that you've made that were super positive. I mean, they just, you look back and you look at everything as before that decision and after that decision. Do you have any one of those that you'd share?
Just one. It's in a similar vein. I searched for years for what my purpose is. Who am I? What's my purpose? What am I supposed to do with life on this planet?
Mm-hmm.
And spent time working it out. And I came to a place where it occurred to me, the purpose of life, and this is not just me, this is the architecture of all humans. The purpose of life is to do something that gives back to humanity in some form or fashion. We are architected as humans to take care of our family. And once we're taking care of our family, then our neighbors, and then our community, and then our country. This is how we're designed as people, right? I think the most super positive thing I've ever figured out is recognizing how sales goes way beyond generating revenue for a company. It's the foundation of leadership. It's the foundation of relationship. It's the foundation of communication. It's a powerful tool for making a difference in all and any area of life. Sticking with sales as a career path was probably the most super positive thing I've ever done.
Okay, that isn't. I mean, it's not an exact point in time, but what you said, I mean, to me is really the embodiment of leadership as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you ever followed Muhammad Ali, but there's a great quote out there, and I don't even know if he really made it or not, but it goes something to the effect of service to others is the rent we pay for our time on earth.
I love that. Right.
And I thought that is a neat way to put it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the same thing, what you're talking about. I mean, if we do give back to others, our community and whatever, for me anyway, it just enriches my life and it expands my connections and it just helps me overall. So excellent.
It fulfills. You know, you said that doesn't go back to a particular time of life, but let me take it back to a very particular time.
Okay.
In the late 90s, I was running technical education facilities, and the dot-com bubble had burst. Now this is 1999, and I was the GM of a franchise, the local arm of a large franchise organization, and we were struggling. I'd worked very hard to get one client, and in 1999, the bubble really burst, and that client went from what was 300 training days a month to about 30. And it was really ugly. And I remember thinking, I want to move into teaching people how to sell. And the question comes up with the web, the way it is, and everybody was pretty hot about .coms at the time.
Right.
The web, the way it is, are we going to need salespeople, or are salespeople going to become a thing of the past? Right? And at that point, what I recognized was that no matter what else transfers, the web may take out a bunch of salespeople and make a lot of sales irrelevant, but there will never come a day when knowing the skills of sales will ever be not relevant. And that's when I made the choice. And it was really because the world said the internet will take out the need for salespeople.
Yeah, and I agree. I don't think that the internet will ever do that. I mean, especially depending on the transaction, on the offer, the people involved. I mean, if I'm buying a coffee mug, yeah. I mean, there was some salesperson that had to write the copy on the sales page. But other than that, no, I totally agree with that. So as you're going through just your day to day and you come upon situations like that, where, I mean, you had a pretty definitive point in time, an event out of your control happened. You have to make decisions. You got to move right, left, one way, the other, up, down, whatever. Do you have any methods that you use when you come upon those for getting through those, for getting through that decision and not letting it stop you? Basically, how do you get unstuck when you get to those situations?
Yeah. In the opening of the book, Measure What Matters, they're talking about Google in its early days, when they were trying to come up with what they called an organizing principle. So like, how are we going to run this company? And they got into this whole process of measuring the things that matter to them. And I think you see that in other programs like entrepreneurial operating system, EOS, and other things. And in my opinion, and what I do with every one of my clients, is I have them come up with who they are as a person. What's your personal code of life? Right? How do you interact with others? And that's always a foundational part of any conversation. And the second thing is, if you know what it is you're trying to accomplish, if you're clear about what your targets are, then whenever you're in a place where you're kind of stuck, it's just a matter of measuring who you are against what your target is. Right? You look at any quarterback on a football field, he knows how many minutes he's got to make how many points to achieve his target. And that's his organizing. Right? These are the resources I have around me, and this is what I've got to get done in the next X number of minutes. And so I'm going to marshal my resources like this. When you're stuck, it's a matter of knowing who you are and how you want to react. And by the way, when we shut down in March for COVID, when all the businesses shut down, most of my clients went through this whole period of ennui, of apathy, of not really knowing what to do. And it was my job to help shake them up and get out of that. What we did was go back to their organizing principles of what they want to accomplish, who they were as people, and understand what the right next action is right now in this moment. And it broke them out.
Okay, that is a neat approach. Basically, go back to your purpose.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And purpose is something you need to write out before you need it.
Yes, no, that I can attest to. I mean, I went round and round for years until I was instructed by a coach and a mentor that figure out your purpose first.
Yeah.
Figure out why you're here, what you're doing, and then everything else will kind of present itself. And it did, which was super helpful to me. So, okay, let's wrap up with kind of a summary overall look at things. Something happened and you had to start over from scratch. Maybe a global pandemic. Who knows? You move to another country, you move to another state, whatever that happens to be. Would you do what you're doing now, or would you start over and do something different?
Well, this goes to what we were talking about a moment ago. When you're
it does,
right?
I kind of had a feeling I was know what you were going to say, or something like that.
I don't do what I do for the money. I do what I do for the difference it makes in the world. And while I might not know Chinese well enough to talk to people about what I do there, I would absolutely work on doing what I do in any location I was, any time or point. To me, this is more than a purpose. It's a calling to make a difference for people and help them understand the principles of sales, to understand how to manage their life as effectively as possible. I think I get to impact their mental state, and I get to impact their culture. If somebody has a presumption that sales is a dirty, ugly business, I get to rearrange that and help them recognize how powerful and performance-oriented it really is. And so I can't see me ever doing anything but this, whether I have to start from scratch and eat ramen, or if I'm living the dream and eating steak every night.
Yeah, and actually we have a box of ramen under our cabinet. We always keep there. I actually like it. I mean, back when I had to eat it, every now and then I'll go back to those times. But okay, thank you very much. That's very helpful. Really appreciate you sharing today. Want to wrap up, but before I do, want to see if there's anything that you want to close with, anything that you'd like to share with the listeners and viewers that you think would benefit them.
Here's the thing. I love talking about this stuff, and I love knowing that when I talk to people about what matters to them, that is, if they have an issue or a problem, that I've done something meaningful in the world. That's my way of giving back. So I would say this: if anybody has a question or a problem, they'd like to take a half hour, connect with me on LinkedIn, send me a message on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to schedule a half hour with them. Now, if you have 200 million listeners and they all call at once, I might have a problem.
Okay, that could be a problem.
Right? But if I can make it work, I would love to spend a little bit of time with people if I can bring value and support to them in their life.
Okay. I'll make sure that if you're okay with it, that your LinkedIn profile URL is in the show notes so they can contact you that way.
Excellent.
And anything else that fits, we'll put in there as well. Again, really, really appreciate you taking the time and sharing today. Thanks everybody for listening. Really appreciate your time as well. Have a very safe and productive week, and be the very, very best at whatever you are doing. This is Tad Stevens with Micro Secrets. Bye for now.